So last class we discussed about fast come fast serve CPU scheduling algorithm. So today we'll solve another problem or another example. After that we'll discuss another CPU scheduling algorithm, shortest job first. So before that, one example, that is fast come fast serve algorithm we'll discuss. We'll take one example and we'll try to solve. Everyone try to solve. Okay. So this one is given. Five processes are there. I think everyone visible. Screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
So we'll take one example. So last class I already discussed. So today another example I will explain. So parallelly you can solve the problem. You try to solve yourself and you can check. So here five processes are there: P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5. And arrival time is also given because first come first serve. How will decide which process will come first? So it depend on arrival time. So that's why this one is very important. Arrival time, because on the basis of arrival time, CPU will decide which process will come first. So this one is given and burst time is also given. So I think everyone has clear what is burst time, arrival time. So if the CPU scheduling policy is FCFS, that is fast come fast serve, then calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time. Okay. So now this is the problem. So now we will try to solve this problem. So first of all, what we'll do? So first of all, we'll uh, prepare, that is called Gantt chart. Okay. So this chart first of all we'll prepare and we'll find out completion time for every process. So how will prepare the Gantt chart? So start from this. So you will first parallelly you will that means uh, you you people are saying you people are tell which process is come first. Anyone?
P3.
P3, because now arrival time is 0. So when arrival time is 0, so that time one process is already in the ready queue. So P3 process, and P3 process will take that means 2, you can say 2 millisecond, 2 second or 2 minutes or 2 days or whatever. So just you that means 2. Okay. So burst time is 2. So that's why we'll start, that means P3 process will take 2. Suppose we are assuming milliseconds, so 2 milliseconds. Okay. So we start from 0 and now P3 process will finish 2 milliseconds. But after 2 milliseconds, any other process is ready in the ready queue? Any other process is arrival in the ready queue? You see, check any
No.
process. No, any other process are in the ready queue. Yes. So that's why in this time CPU is idle. That means no process is there. So that's why 2 to 3 CPU is idle. Okay. So that means black box represent the ideal time of CPU. Anyone have any doubt why this one? Because here in all other process are arrive at 3. That means next process is arrive at 3. So now that means next process. So next process is P1,
P1.
because after 3 milliseconds P1 process is in the ready queue and it will take how much time? 4 milliseconds.
4.
Okay. So that's why 3, that means after 4 milliseconds P1 process will complete. So 3 plus 4, that means 7. Okay. Now next, which process?
P5.
P5. 5.
5.
Yes, P5, because after 4 milliseconds P5 process in the ready queue. So that's why P5. So P5 process will start and it will take 3 milliseconds. So 3, that means that's why 7, 3, that is 10. Now, now you check which process come first. That means after 5 milliseconds, P2 and
P2, sir.
P2 and P4. Yes, P2 and P4. Now you may ask which process will execute first because arrival time is same. So now in this time, just you check which process ID, that is P2 first. So process ID P2 will execute first, then P4. Okay. So now that means P2 process. So P2 process will take how much time? 3 milliseconds. Yes, 3 milliseconds. And after that, which process?
P4.
And it will take 1 millisecond. Okay. So now that means this is our first duty. We'll prepare the Gantt chart. Okay. So when we'll prepare the Gantt chart, now you can say completion time of each process. Completion time of each process. Yes. So that's why this Gantt chart is required. So now here, uh, so now, so here we'll prepare the table. Completion time. Okay. So here insert right another. Okay. So now here we can calculate completion time. Okay. So now you can say, so P1 completion time from the Gantt chart. P1 process completion time is
7.
very good. 7. Next P2, P2, P2
13.
13. Very good. Next P3, P3 2. Yes. Anyone have any doubt? P3. Next P4. So P4, that means 14.
14.
Completion time is 14. Anyone have any doubt? Please ask the question. And P5. P5 completion time is 10.
10.
Okay. Okay, very good. Now next, what will calculate? We calculate turnaround time.
Time.
Yes, turnaround time. So turnaround time means completion time and minus arrival time. Completion time minus arrival time. So this one is a completion time. Exit time or completion time is same. So turnaround time means completion time, completion time minus arrival time. So now, so what is
4.
the 4? Very good. 7 minus 3. Now next one, 13 minus 5. That means 8. Now 2 minus 0, 2. Next one, 14 minus, sorry, हाँ ठीक है, completion time. 14 minus 5, 9. Next, Okay, sorry, again I will start due to network issue. Okay, till now, okay. Yes,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now P5 turnaround
Six.
time is 6. Very good,
6.
very good. So now our main objective is to calculate waiting time. So waiting time means what is the formula of waiting time? Anyone? Turnaround time minus burst time. So turnaround time minus burst time. So turnaround time is for P1 process 4 minus 4, that means 0.
0.
Next, next 8 minus 3 means 5.
5.
Then P3 process turnaround time 2
0.
and burst time is 2, that means 0.
0.
Next 9 minus 1, 8. Next 6 minus 3, that means 3.
3.
Okay. Okay, so that means now we can easily calculate average waiting time. Our main problem is that means our main objective is to calculate average waiting time or average turnaround time. So now average waiting time. Okay, so what is the formula? Average waiting time.
Waiting time divided by 5.
Yes. So that means here 0. Average waiting time equals to okay. So average waiting time equals to 0 plus 0 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 8 plus 3 divided by
5.
5%. Okay, so that means 5, 8, 13, that is 16 by 5. Yes, so 16 by 5 equals to 3.2. Okay, if unit is given in your exam paper, maybe millisecond or second, then you can write the unit also. Now average waiting time, average waiting time, the average turnaround time, average turnaround time. So just simply add 4 plus 8, 4 plus 8 plus 2 plus 9 plus 6 divided by 5. So now for 8, 12, 14,
5.8.
29 by 5.
4.8.
29 by 5. Okay. 29 by 5 means 5.8. Okay. So now I think clear to everyone. First come, first serve. Yes, or anyone have any doubt?
So that chart, please explain once again.
Okay, okay. Nice. So chart will start because first come first serve is depend on arrival time, because how will decide, that means CPU how will decide which process will come first. तो कौन सा प्रोसेस पहले आया सीपीयू को कैसे पता चलेगा ना, डिपेंड्स ऑन अराइवल टाइम. So now if you see 0 millisecond, when 0 millisecond, when 0, then only P3 process is ready in the ready queue. Okay, so that's why we will start, because first come first. Or another thing, most important point is non preemptive, that means one process is once you start the execution, then first of all complete. So ये P3 process first of all complete, and it will take 2 milliseconds suppose. So that's why P3 complete. Now after 2 milliseconds we'll check here. So any other process is ready in the ready queue?
No.
No. So that's why in this time CPU is idle. Okay. So that's why after 1 millisecond, we'll check any other process is ready. So P1
P1.
process is ready. So that's why start P1 process. So P1 process will take how much time? 4. So that's why 3 plus 4, that means 7. So now time is 7 milliseconds. So in this time, all other process are ready in the ready queue, because after 5 milliseconds, P2 process is already ready in the ready queue. P4 process is also ready, and P5 process is also ready. So now again we'll check which process come first. So now P4, that means P5 process, because after 4 milliseconds P5 process is already there. So that's why P5 process. So P5 process how much time? Burst time is 3. So now 7 plus 3, that means 10. Now again we'll check. So in this time, two processes are ready. That means after 5 milliseconds, P2 process is also ready, and P4 process is also. Now which one? So you will decide which process. So in that case, process ID will check. So that's why P2 process come first, P2 then P4. So now that's why P2 and P4. And P2's burst time is 3. That's why we have written 13, and this process is 1. So now, okay. So now from the Gantt chart, we can that means we can write the completion time. So we can find out the completion time of each process. Okay. Once you calculate the completion time, then easily you can calculate turnaround time, and after that waiting time. So now I think clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and another, I already explained the most important point, convoy effect, or some advantages, disadvantages. So just you go through. I already uploaded your that is class notes is also in the Google Classroom. So once you go through, then I think your concept will clear. And you check any other problem will take and you solve. I will give the assignment also. So you try to solve yourself. Okay. So another important CPU scheduling algorithm, the shortest job first. So now we can see the name shortest job first. So shortest job first. So out of all the available process, CPU is assigned to the process having smallest burst time. So that means here which process having, that means first of all we'll check which process burst time is less, that process will execute fast. This is the meaning of shortest job first. So out of the available processes, CPU is assigned to the process having smallest burst time. ठीक है? Or in case of a tie, it is broken by FCFS, fast come first schedule. अगर same अगर that means burst time होता है, so that time we'll check first come first serve. That means which process was come first. अगर same burst time है, तो उस time में we'll check arrival time. Okay. So let's see, we'll see one example. That time I think your concept will clear. So here two types, that means shortest job first non-preemptive mode and non-preemptive mode. So shortest job first, non-preemptive mode and preemptive mode. So what is the meaning of non-preemptive? Means once process is assigned, that means executing. So first, after completion, another process will execute. But in that case, preemptive mode, shortest remaining time first. तो इसको shortest remaining time fast भी बोलते हैं. जब when shortest of fast in a preemptive mode, then it is called shortest remaining time fast. So here we'll check. So better will when we'll take one example. That time your concept will clear. So now first of all we'll discuss shortest job fast in non-preemptive mode. Then we'll discuss shortest job fast in preemptive mode, and it is called shortest remaining time fast. Okay. So another CPU scheduling algorithm, shortest remaining time fast. Okay. So now we'll discuss. mm, Shortest job scheduling can be used in both preemptive and non-preemptive mode. So preemptive mode, shortest job fast is called shortest remaining time fast. Okay. Now, what are the advantages? So shortest remaining time is the optimal and guarantee the minimum average waiting time. And it provides a standard for other algorithms since no other algorithm perform better than it. So shortest remaining time fast is a will give the best result or best minimum average waiting time. But what are the disadvantages? Now it cannot be implemented practically since uh, burst time of the process cannot be known in advance. That's why, and it leads to starvation for processes with large burst time. Priorities cannot be set for the process. No priorities is there. Processes with large burst time have poor response time. With large burst time, then will give a poor response time. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. Achha. Another thing, after 9 minutes, your uh, class will complete. So after that, you have any class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, you can. That means again you will join. Otherwise, next class we'll discuss service tomorrow. So let's see. We'll take one example better. So main concept is shortest job first. Okay. So shortest job first means again I will discuss. That means first of all we'll take the example. So here four processes are there: P1, P2, P3, okay, and P5. Okay. So now arrival time is also given and burst time is also given. Now if CPU scheduling policy shortest job first non-preemptive, already mentioned is there, non-preemptive, then calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time. Okay. If here mention shortest of preemptive, then that is called shortest remaining time first. So that algorithm will discuss next. So first of all, you try to concentrate in this shortest job non-preemptive. Okay. So now this is the problem. So here the most important is first of all we prepare the Gantt chart. So now you tell me. Wait. Now visible. Screen is visible.
No, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
we
sir.
will, okay. So now we'll try to solve the problem. So again, we'll start from Gantt chart. Okay. So first of all, you check which process is arrival in the zero millisecond, which process is ready or arrive
If
in the ready queue. P4. Yes, P4. Yes, P4.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's why. So after zero, that means when zero, then only one process is ready in the ready queue. So now here no comparison is required because which process has burst time is less. So only one process is ready in the ready queue. So that's why P4 process will execute fast. Yes, now clear? Because
Yes, sir.
in the ready queue only one process is there. So no comparison is required. Yes, so that's why P4 process is complete and burst time is 6. Now after 6 millisecond, now you will check all the process in the ready queue. Yes, because after 1 millisecond P2 process is come, then after 3 millisecond, 4 millisecond and 2 millisecond, that means in the ready queue, all other process in the ready, that means for execution. So P1, P2, P4, P3 and P5. Now we'll check or now we'll compare which process has less or smallest burst time. यहाँ पे आपको अराइवल टाइम चेक नहीं करना है. Now we will check burst time. Which process has smallest burst time? That process will execute first. That is the concept of shortest job first. Yes. So now anyone can say which process has
P1, sir.
P1. Okay. So that's why P1 process, and it will take only 1 millisecond. So now 1. So next which process?
P3.
P3. So P3 means 7 and it will take 2. So that's why 7 plus 2, 9. Now next which process?
P5.
P5. Very good. Fine. So P5. Next
P2.
P2. P2. Fine. So now we'll calculate same thing. Now completion time. So now we'll calculate completion time of this. So now I think you can differentiate first come first serve on shortage of first. Yes. So one thing keep in your mind. Initially, we'll check which process is ready that will arrive in the ready queue. After that, we'll compare. So starting when time is zero, only one process is ready in the ready queue. So that's why no comparison is required. Which process is burst time is less. That's why directly we write here P4 and P4 is complete. After completion, now 6 millisecond. Now all other processes ready in the ready queue. Now you will compare burst time. Okay. Now you can differentiate shortest of first and first come first serve. Yes. Yes or no? Or anyone have any doubt? So now you tell me the. So now we'll calculate completion time. So now one by one. Completion time of P1
7.
7. Fine. Next, do first only 2 minutes left. So next process
16.
16. Very good. Next process
9.
very good. Next
6.
very good. Next 12.
12.
Now we'll calculate turnaround time. So turn around time. Very good. Now turnaround time is completion time minus arrival time.
Arrival time.
Very good. 4. Next, do first
15,
then 15 next,
5,
5 next,
6,
6 next.
10.
Very good. Now we calculate waiting time. So waiting time formula is turnaround time minus
Turn-
burst time. 3 next, 11, 15 minus 4 next, 3 next, 0 next, 7. Okay. So now we'll calculate average waiting time. Now we'll calculate average waiting time. Average waiting time. Do first waiting time. So average waiting time is equals to 3 plus 11 plus 3 plus 0 plus 7. So that means 24. 24 divided by 5. So equals to 4.8.
8.
Okay. And another one is turnaround average turnaround time. Turnaround time. Yes. So average turnaround time is equals to calculate. I think 40,
40 divided by 5.
Yes. Now 8. Yes. So now I think clear to everyone. Shortage of us. Next class will discuss shortest remaining time. That is more. That is more important because little bit complicated is there. So I think